Okay, so I am in OnShape. We've talked about designing the light holder for our LED light and our acrylic part that we're making. We said that the parameters on that would be 2 inch by 3 inch by 4 inch is the maximum. So I'm going to start by sketching a rectangle. So I'll go up here into my create a new sketch. I'm going to select the top sketch plane, and I'm going to go ahead over here to my view cube and click on that so I can kind of be looking down on this. Now, the tool I'm going to use is the rectangle tool. So if you take a look over here, so I've got corner rectangle or I've got center point rectangle. In this case, I'm going to use the center point rectangle. I'm going to just come here. I'm going to go off of the X0, Y0. We'll left click on that. And then I just kind of go up. It doesn't really have to be anything. I'm just dropping a rectangle in here. Now notice as soon as I left click there, it gives me a opening to type in my dimension here. So I'm going to say this dimension will be 4. So I'll type in 4 and hit enter. As soon as I do that, it moves over to the other dimension. And let's say here, I want that to be 2 inches in this case. So I'll say 2 inches. So, and enter gives me that. Now, that's all I need at this point. So I'm going to come back in and I'm going to click the green check mark for that sketch. And let's go back now to my isometric. It's right there. Now we are going to extrude this. So I did this as 4 by 2. So I'm going to extrude this. So I click on my extrude tool. And notice I've got new, add, remove, or intersect. This is going to be new. I'm going to select the geometric shape that I'm going to extrude, which is that rectangle. Notice it's going up, so now all I need to do is change the depth that I'm going to extrude that. In this case, it's going to be 3 inches. So I'll type in 3 and hit enter. And I'm finished with this extrusion, so I will put a check mark there. Now, if you recall on our part, it's also got a bevel or cutout over here. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to sketch on a new plane. So I'm going to left click my sketch and I'm going to come over. I can sketch on any of these planes. I can rotate around in my view cube, but right here, I want to sketch on this plane right there. And so I can see this better. I'm going to view cube over to get to where I can see that. Now, in this point, I'm going to just do some lines. So I'm going to go to my line tool. I'm going to select this corner. And again, I don't really have to worry too much right now about dimensions. I'm just kind of drawing the shape. So there's my shape. All right. Now, as I do this, now I can kind of put some dimensions on this particular part. So if I go right up here, so if we take a look at our toolbar up top, so this line, this tool right here gives me the ability to dimension. So I will left click on that. I'm going to click this line. So left click that line, move that up. This is 1.4. Let's make this one 1.5. 1.5 right there. Now if I click here and move out here, this is 1.5 as well. So I'll place that. Just happen to get lucky with in this case, but let's say I don't want that to be 1.5. Maybe I want to make this at 2. So let me go 2 inches here, and sketch could not be solved. So I imagine that we've got a constraint of 45 degrees in here. So if we kind of go back for right now, just to make sure, I'll kind of show you how to get rid of that here. We'll keep this at 1.5 for right now, and let's see if this will accept it. So it does. So come back to our isometric drawing. I'm just real quick trying to show you how to get this done. So let's extrude that back. Now, again, in this case, I'm going to extrude the part that I just drew. So here is this. Now notice that comes out, so I'm adding material onto it. I don't want to add any material on, so notice it says add. I want to remove this material, so I'm going to remove this material. And here I've got a blind depth. So this is blind, it's going to 1 inch deep. So I can either say change this to be that distance. So let's say if I wanted it to be 2 inches deep, I could kind of put that in there. And notice now it's going 2 inches deep. Or if I wanted to go all the way across, which that's 4 inches, so I can, instead of being blind, I can say I want to go through all. So here I'm going to go through all and click the check mark. So that's that point right there. Now, as you think about what else we need on this part, I'm also going to need a slot up here. So on the bottom side, we're going to need some material removed. So we're going to go back with this. I'm going to now create another sketch, and I'm going to draw on this surface right here. So let's go back into the top view now. I'm going to come back to my rectangle tool here. So let's go back to my center point rectangle. And in this case, I can come right here. And remember, this is for our piece of acrylic. So when I click on this, I'm going to make this 3.5, and this will be 0.25. So that's the dimensions there of that acrylic piece that's going to go in there. And we'll check on that. And then as I come back now to the isometric view, I need that to go down to a certain depth. So I'm now going to extrude this again, and I'm going to click on this to extrude it. Notice it's coming up, so I can either say I want this to be blind, but now I'm going to go, instead of being +1, I'm going to change this to -1. So like that, that's one way I could do this. Let me take it back up to 1 here so we can go that way. The other thing that we could do is, instead of having this like this, I can just go ahead and grab this arrow, and if I click that, it's going to go the opposite direction. So another thing that I can do, let's move that back, switch here. I can also grab the arrow, I can extend it up, I can drop it down, and grab the arrow to move this as well. So in this case, we'll go ahead, and this way we'll move that 1 inch deep, and that extrusion is done. So there we go. Now, notice it didn't take it out. So, well, let's see what's going on. Let's come back to this extrusion. I'll right-click, edit. So notice here we were adding material. So does this make sense? So we didn't see anything because we added material there. Well, there was already material there, so there's no need for, it's not going to show anything because we just put material in material that's already there. So rather than add here, we need to click remove. So I'm going to click remove and hit the check mark. So there you go. So now we've got that out. As I kind of, I'm basically pushing down on my roller on my mouse and holding my shift key at the same time, so I can kind of pan around with this so I can see the depth. Now, as you think about it, my next part is to sketch right on here. So I'm going to come here and sketch. We will click on this part. Now, let's come to the bottom, rotate that around. So if we remember at this point, I can kind of use that center point rectangle again. This was our battery pack, and let's say our battery pack here measures 2 inch this way and 1 inch going this way. So we're going to have to measure the battery pack and kind of make sure that it is fit correctly, so that we know that the battery pack will fit inside that particular area that we cut out. And instead of just being a rectangle, maybe these corners are rounded off. So we're going to go right here to this sketch fillet tool. So we're going to put this on, and I'm going to click here and here for that line. Now notice this is giving me a 1/4 inch radius. So maybe that'll be good. So I'll left click on that, and then instead of a 1/4 inch, maybe I want this to be 0.125 or 1/8 of an inch. So let me make that 1/8 of an inch. So radius there. I'm going to keep with that tool. Now that I've specified that radius, it'll keep there. I'll just have to left click. We're going to do the same thing here. Left click. And lastly, right here with this one, left click. Now I have radiuses in all 4 of those corners, and I'm done drawing that. So we'll check mark on this, and I'm gonna again hold the roller ball and the shift roller track, because now I want to extrude this part. So let's click on that, and notice it's coming out. I want to switch that direction, so we'll go all the way through there. So, and there we go. Again, the same thing. Notice, let's go back, right click, edit. So we added material, we wanted to remove that material. So there we go. So this has given you a pretty good idea of how to start drawing in OnShape to get this into the views that you want it to be and start to get your part designed the way you need it to be designed.